So good afternoon. Today we'll be discussing expatriate selection in continuation with our previous lecture which we have already discussed under expatriate selection, that what are the characteristics and what are the factors one should keep in mind for selecting expatriate, right? Basically now we have how this has to be managed. As we already know that an expatriate is an employee who has been sent to his or her employer to work in a foreign country. The firm is normally referred to as parent company, while the country of employment is known as the host country. Obviously, when a particular parent company is sending a employee to the host country, and that is known as expatriate. So, an expatriate or expat is a person temporarily or permanently residing in a country and culture other than that of his person's upbringing. That means a person where he has born and been brought up, he leaves that particular country and settles down in other country where company is sending a person to. So a person, he leaves his own country to live elsewhere. Now, there are three interrelated phases in expatriate selection. Now, there are phases when we talk about expatriate selection, although we have discussed these phases in detail. First is critical environment issues, second is organizational issues, third is expatriate candidate characteristics. Critical environmental issues are those issues which we are talking about the host country. Like you are sending a person from India to, let us suppose, China. So before sending, you obviously have to do a work on, you have to have your homework on what is the economic condition prevailing over there, what is the social and cultural environment of the country, and what are the legalities which would be required. All that would be required in order to. Hello. Hello. से क्लास में था क्या चुना ओके So all these critical environmental issues, they have to be take into consideration when you go for, because you have to manage expatriate. It becomes the company's responsibility for maintaining that security in terms of physical security and in terms of emotional security. Both ways security concern is related with the environment which would be prevailing in the host country, right? Second is organizational issues. Organizational issues, as we know that organization is having a particular culture which prevails in an organization. Although the organization culture would be somehow, I'll not say same, but somehow connected, irrespective of the fact whether the organization is situated in the host country or the parent country. But having said that, even the culture which prevails in the organization, it is being highly influenced by the culture which is prevailing in the country or in the location, in the geographical location where host company is located. Then one is culture, second is the type of job which you were handling over in parent company and now which you are supposed to handle in host country. The team, maybe the team which you were handling in parent company was a big one in number, and maybe now when you are going to host country, it is smaller in size, or it could be vice versa also. Now how will it impact? It is going to have huge impact, as I said, emotionally. Because a person will think that I was handling a team. When we say handling a team, it is reporting issue, that how many persons were reporting to me. As a team leader in my parent company, 10 persons were reporting to me, and in host country only 5 people would be reporting to me. So all these things will come into picture once you are sending an expatriate to the host country. Then obviously, as we said, that we have two languages. One, the language which is prevailing in the host country. Second, the corporate language. So that can again become a factor which needs to be managed while sending an expat to the host country. Then third is expatriate candidate characteristics. As we have discussed already in our previous lecture, that there are characteristics of the expatriate, and those characteristics are governed by, internal, what are inherited in the employee, and those characteristics which are being carried out. For example, he may not be very extrovert. Person who you are sending might be introvert person, so he will take much longer time to adjust over there. Or it could be vice versa, he is very extrovert, but the country where you are sending, people are not very open over there, right? So again, it will need him time to get adjusted over there. Second, the type of thought process a expatriate is having, that will be purely based on the characteristics of the family he has been brought up. So though all those, then the innovativeness, learning keenness, and all these characteristics are going to make a huge impact when you are selecting an expat. You cannot ignore any of the points, may it be critical environmental issues, organizational issues, or expatriate candidate characteristics. You cannot ignore any of them in order to send a person. You'll have to have, you need to find a person, find an expat who will be fitting in and adjusting in all these three parameters, because expatriate management and selection involves a huge cost to the organization, right? Then there are several characteristics that determine whether expatriate expected level of success. Now question arises, you are sending a person from parent company to the host country. What are the chances that the person whom you are sending will be successful over there? So there are certain characteristics on the basis of which you can measure whether the expatriate would be successful or not. First is job skill, second is motivational state, third is language, relationship, family, technical. As we have earlier also discussed, that out of all these factors, technical competency and obviously job skills, they rate the highest. Technical competency and job skills, they are the skills which will keep an expatriate grounded on the basis of his expertise. If you are sending a person to the host country and he is having the technical competency, when we say technical competency has to be kept in mind, keeping in mind the technical development in the host country. Let us suppose I am very good at handling a particular, say, technological aspect over in India. I'm very good in that. But when I'm being sent to, say, UK or even Japan, they are much more technically advanced than what we are in India. So maybe my technical skills will not be as efficient as I was having it in India. So technical competence has to be kept in mind. What is prevailing technical development in the host country, and what is it prevailing in your parent company? Now, if it is that, then you need to judge the gap that fine, if you are sending a person from technologically advanced country to a highly technologically advanced country, then that gap needs to be fulfilled through training. Before sending a person, you need to train them. Same is with job skills. Obviously, job skills are peculiar to the job a person is supposed to handle over there. So it is purely based on the experience. So that would determine. Now, job skill again, if for example, if you are handling a customer base in India, if your job requires handling a customer base in India, now you are being sent to US or UK. Now the job is same, that you will be handling customer base, but the customers are different now. Initially you were handling Indian customers, now you will be handling US or UK customers. Now the customers, their cultural background, their emotional state of mind, their expectations will differ. That might hamper your customer handling skills. Then motivational state. Obviously, it is very important that a person who is being sent to the host country has to be highly motivated. If he is not highly motivated, he is just accepting the offer because maybe under certain pressure or under some huge burden, then quite possible that he might succumb to those pressures, and he might feel depressed over there, and would again like to come back to parent company. Then we have discussed enough about language skills and relationship skills, because they are again one of the prime factors for developing interpersonal relationships in the host country. So if your expat is having command over the language skill which is being spoken in the host country, the chances of expatriate success is highly high. And then family situation, if family is highly supporting, if family is is keeping that expat um, is keeping expat in a very comfortable position, so quite possible that he'll be giving 100% output to the work which he's been assigned in the host country. So all these characteristics will determine whether your selected expat would be successful over there or not. See, you cannot assure 100% success rate, but if all these are positive, all these factors are positive, then certain minor gaps can be fulfilled, maybe through counseling or through small trainings. Fine. So these are certain characteristics that determine expatriates' expected level of success. Now we have a model for selecting expatriates. Now, as an international HR recruiter, and you are selecting expatriates, so we have a model. First is belief in the mission, then followed by career path congruence, interest in overseas experience, interest in host country, willingness to adapt behavior and attitude. These are very important, because until and unless your expat is not aware about the mission of you being sending to the host country and how it correlates to the overall mission and objective of the organization. Then second is career path congruence, whether he is able to correlate the success which you as an international HR planner is thinking about the employee, whether he is able to see that success and is correlating it with his own career goals. That means career path congruence has to be there. There has to be correlation. He should correlate his moving to abroad with his career goals. Then interest in overseas experience. Obviously, this is one of the characteristics which will lead to the motivation. Interest in host country. Now, what is this host country? Interest in host country. See, let us suppose there are two expats, right? Two countries. Both of them are equally, equally receptive to the job being sent to the host country. Now, one country is, let us suppose, Australia, second country is Uzbekistan. Now, maybe that one country is more attractive, maybe that Uzbekistan would not be that attractive. He is willing to work, everything is fine, but interest in host country. Then in that particular case, wherein you are sending an expat to an unlucrative country, then you have to, try to make that offer lucrative by adding on certain incentives, by adding on certain, you can say career related things, so that expat accepts that particular offer. Then willingness to adapt behavior and attitudes. How flexible a person is. So you as a selector, you will have to see all these things when you are shortlisting a candidate for as an expat. Then second is technical skill and self-confidence. Obviously, these are job-related points. Then managerial and administrative skills. How he is how he will fare in, or how he will how he is gonna to behave, or how he is gonna to offer his skills in administration and in managing other people. Then headquarter and host country operational knowledge. This is very important. Headquarter and host country operational knowledge. See, expat, you must identify expat who is not going to, compare. That this used to happen in our headquarter. The headquarter is your parent company. And this is happening in your host country. So operational knowledge, that because of these factors, operation in headquarters or parent company was different. And because of other factors, operation in host country, it would be different. So that operational knowledge is very, very much essential when you shortlist candidate as an expat. Then tolerance for ambiguity, behavior flexibility, cultural empathy, reinforcement substitution, ability to reduce stress. Tolerance for ambiguity, because you are sending a person to altogether a destination he has not been before. He has not been there before. So quite possible he has to be ready to accept any shocks. We say cultural shocks, right? So shock management has to be there. He should be ready to witness and tolerate all those shocks. May it be economic shock, may it be cultural shock, or may it be shock at any other level. So in order to tolerate those ambiguities or uncertainties, behavior flexibility is required. If a person is very, very rigid, he has set down certain principles, he has set down his own things, then he might not be very flexible in accepting those ambiguities, those uncertainties. He may not be adaptable. Then cultural empathy is very important, and something which somehow all of the expats need to understand. Cultural empathy, may it be simply the food you have been used to and what you will be having over there. May it be the festivals you have been celebrating over in parent country and the type of festivals will be that you are going to see in host country. So you need not to compare and put down one culture over the other. You do not have to degrade, or you do not have to, you know, show disrespect to the culture. Right? You cannot say, हम इंडियंस तो कितना अच्छा खाना खाते हैं, आप लोग क्या खाते हो, उबला खाना. How do you survive on that? This shows cultural disrespect. That cultural empathy has to be taken care of, because an expat will be having a team. He will be attending meetings with his team members. He might be going out with his team members. So that cultural empathy has to be shown. So if you shortlist a person who is not having this type of adaptability and this type of empathetic characteristics, then quite possible he would be adjusting, but the other people in the host country might not accept him as a team member. Then they would be continuously, nagging behind and backbiting about the person. Then reinforcement substitution, it is again wherein reinforcement substitution, you are reinforcing certain behaviors. When we say reinforcing, either through positive, it could be positive reinforcement, it could be negative reinforcement. But herein you cannot have negative reinforcement. You cannot force a person that you have to go to the host country, you have to join as an expat. Otherwise, you will not be promoted, or you will, these incentives or your increments will be freeze. Negative reinforcement cannot work for expatriates. You will have to have positive. So reinforcement has to be substituted by the positive reinforcement. आपने डंडा मार के किसी को बाहर भेज भी दिया तो वो वहां पे काम ही नहीं करेगा. सिंपल. काम कर भी लिया तो अंडर स्ट्रेस होगा. He might not be motivated. He will feel choked over there. So that substitution reinforcement has to be there. Then obviously ability to reduce stress. Howsoever a person is very adaptable, very flexible, but during the settling phase, there could be stress level. So that ability to reduce stress, because ability to reduce stress, it will vary from person to person. Some persons carry on stress with them as a baggage, but some persons, they just shed off. They tend to shed off their stress. That is very good characteristic. So when you are shortlisting or selecting expat, you need to see all these things. Then obviously willingness to go, ability to do the job, ability to adapt, positive family situations, ability to communicate, ability to form relationships. So these are the ingredients. These are the basic ingredients. These are the 6 basic ingredients that you should look forward to in a person while selecting him as an expat. Right? Then it is followed by interest or willingness of spouse and family to go overseas. That is family situation. Adaptability of spouse and family. See, this willingness to go is correlated to this particular box. If you can see, ability to the job is correlated with this. Then ability to adapt is correlated to this. And this positive family situation is followed by this interest and willingness of spouse and family to go overseas. Adaptability of spouse and family, stability of marriage. This is very important point. Now you as a person are very flexible, very adaptable. But what if your spouse is not? She is feeling homesick. Then she will continuously, brag and nag about that. What is the country where we are settling down? I do not find any friends. I'm finding it very difficult to socialize. So that might create a stress. And as in my previous lecture also I said that the cases of divorce, because of non-compatibility, non-supportance, So even marriage will be at the stake. So family situation has to be very positive. Then only you can send a person for overseas assignment. Then perceptual skills, flexibility, language ability, willingness to use the language, non-verbal communication ability, very, very important non-verbal communication ability, because in non-verbal communication, different countries, as we have read, Hofstede's cultural dimension. Therein, certain countries, what we there are certain gestures which we are okay with it, but in other countries they might not be very okay. They are not seen as good gestures. So, non-verbal communication ability, grasping and learning and then reciprocating, is very, very important. For forming relationships, interpersonal skills and relationship development, as I said, if a person is very introvert, then he will require much more time to get adapted and to develop those relationships. So these are the things when you are looking forward to a person whom you want to send for as an international assignment. This is successful expatriate experience. If you see, it is almost now the same, just it is that what will govern for the successful expatriate: analysis of job requirements. That means he will be successful on the basis of job if he has got technical requirements, managerial responsibilities, cultural requirements, which is interaction with local, national and local community. Analysis of country में क्या होना चाहिए, general values, what are the political, legal, socio-economic situation, social institutions, standard of living, physical environment. Then evaluation of candidate would be on the basis of availability, job availability of the candidate, because you must have a sufficient number with you, because if a person turns down the offer, you should have some other candidate ready. So availability in terms of number, job abilities, personal characteristics, career status, desire for assignment, family situation, gender, language skills, prior experiences, then preparation of candidate's family. This is now this is when you have selected a person. So now you need to prepare candidate and his family for the visit. So what will it include? Pre-assignment site visit. Before you are actually sending a person to another country, company needs to send him just to have a glance or just to have a feel of the country. Job country orientation on the basis of, say, all those dimensions. Maybe your company is adopting Hofstede's cultural dimensions or Hall's cultural dimensions. So on those aspects, country orientation, that what is the orientation of the country where you are being sent, and culture orientation, language training, compensation, benefit, taxes. This is very important point, because ultimately when you are sending a person to a host country, the most important thing what he is keeping in mind is what I will gain out of it. मैं कितना पैसा बचा पाऊंगा. Country तो lucrative हो सकती है, but then compensation, what would be the, for example, if you are sending a person on the same compensation, and when you have an exchange, even if you can calculate the exchange rate, the taxes, the benefits which you are offering, if it is marginally okay, then quite possible that your candidate is not going to accept the offer. So that needs to be very, put forward to the candidate before sending him to the assignment. Then counseling by repatriates, counseling by repatriates. That means already who had been to that country, and now they are back in your parent company. So a meeting is being set. So what is the say objective? Objective is because he will share his own experiences that will make your acceptability and settling down very easy. Then local sponsorship in the sense maybe sponsoring your children's education, maybe sponsoring your wife's job, maybe sponsoring, there are lot many things, cultural sponsors, club sponsorships and all this. So depending upon the company's policy. Then adequate length of assignment. Obviously, what is the length of assignment a person is being sent on? If it is a short assignment, so this family preparation of family won't be that very important. But if it is an adequate length of assignment, if it is a longer duration, then obviously you need to have a full support of your family. Then repatriation preparation. This is very important. You know, we have two shocks. One shock, cultural shock, when employee goes to the host country because he is carrying all those cultural values of the parent company. Now he has settled down in the host country. Let us suppose an employee was in India. Now from India you have sent him to the UK. In UK he has spent, let us suppose, 5 years. Now after 5 years he is supposed to come back to India. Again, after when he is, एक शॉक तो उसको तब मिला जब वो यूके पहुंचा. Altogether different culture, altogether maybe language, altogether, or culture or food, whatever. Now he has adjusted to all those, say, maybe food, culture, or whatever expectations. Now when he is coming back, again there will be a shock. Shock of what? Because 7 years he has spent in a very highly developed country. जितना इम्पोर्टेंट हमारा प्रिपरेशन है एक्सपैट के लिए, उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट रिपैट्रिएशन प्रोसेस भी होता है. एक्सपैट्रिएशन प्रोसेस तो इम्पोर्टेंट है, उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट रिपैट्रिएशन प्रोसेस भी है. सो स्पॉन्सर बैक होम, करियर काउंसलिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, कल्चरल रीओरिएंटेशन. By now you have enough of your culture over there, so now you are back home because socially you are disconnected for 7 years. You were not in touch with your friends, family face to face. Fine, aaj ki date mein to we have social these social networking sites, so you tend to remain connected. But otherwise, when we were not having this, so person was left out, socially left out. तो वापस आके फिर से उनको उस सिनेरियो में एडजस्ट होना, that again becomes very challenging for employee as well as company. And then successful experience. Now he has come back, he will share his experiences with the other colleagues. So this is how your all these.
Yes, ma'am, it is clear.
Now we have type of expatriates. This is just quickly, I will just summarize. Volunteer expatriates, traditional expatriates, career development expatriates, and global expatriates. So volunteer expatriates, those who want to work abroad for a period of time because they are just volunteering. I know. There are certain employees who just volunteer, who just look forward कि हमें कब foreign assignment मिले और हम लोग जाएं. So they volunteer to be as an expatriate. Then traditional expatriates, they have been moving from one country to another. They keep on rotating from one country to other country. Okay, projects, generally project based. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. Then career development expatriates. Career development expatriates means where we talked about career congruence, that you want to develop company as well as you want to develop you want to give bright career to your employee as well. So career development in you are sending a person to different countries so that he experiences. For example, let us suppose you want to make a person as an हेड मार्केटिंग एशिया. ठीक है, आप एक प्रोडक्ट के यू वांट टू मेक हिम हेड मार्केटिंग एशिया. एशिया में वो इंडिया से बाहर ही नहीं निकला है तो वो क्या एशिया को हैंडल करेगा? सो यू नीड टू सेंड हिम maybe to Japan, maybe to China, maybe to Afghanistan, maybe to this Maldives, maybe to Malaysia. Then only he will be having experience of Asian countries. So that is career development expatriates, right? Then global expatriates. Global expatriates, those individuals who move from one country to another, often they prefer to work internationally rather than. Now the difference between global and traditional expatriates is that traditional expatriates are, you are offering a certain work, some work, and they just complete it, come back, then send you them another, send them to, you are just sending them to another location as and when required. एक स्किल एक्सपर्ट है उनका और उनको आप भेज रहे हो जब भी उस एक्सपर्ट की जरूरत पड़ती है उस पर्टिकुलर कंट्री में, किसी भी पर्टिकुलर कंट्री में। ग्लोबल एक्सपैट्रिएट मीन्स उनको आप ठहरने ही नहीं देते, वो उनको उनकी खुद की ही इच्छा है कि हमें और मिलते जाएं, वो होम कंट्री में आते ही नहीं है। आपने, यू हैव सेंड अ पर्सन टू फ्रॉम इंडिया टू यूके, नाउ यू आर नॉट कॉलिंग बैक हिम टू यूके, यूके से ही आपने उसको यूएस भेज दिया, यूएस से ही फिर आपने उसको से गाना भेज दिया, so he is just roaming. That is what is global expatriate. So obviously global expatriate is having more, he's exposed to more experience, right? Then we have expatriate management process. I'll just stop. Thank you. This was all about expatriate selection, that what all things you should keep in mind for selecting an expatriate.